Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast. And here we are. I mean, this day in New England, my dad didn't get to experience this day, but this day in New England is a very good metaphor for what the sports podcast, Boston Sports Podcast, is like season feels like right now because it's just the dead of winter. We have All-Star break for both NHL and NBA, so not much to talk about there. We are, days away or weeks or months away from the combine, NFL. So we're going to dig deep here. We're going to almost seem like ESPN at this point, right? We're shifting so much from Boston sports to talk about some big topics around sports overall, dig into that. And then we'll touch on some Patriot stuff. And I know the other thing we have to make sure we do is our sponsorship. So let's get started with some sponsors, Dad. What do you got for today?
Well, do you need an amazing therapist in the Pinellas County, Florida area? William McCormick is your guy. Check him out. Need some tasty boba teas and some amazing pho? See my girlfriend Sidavon down in Pinellas Park. Moonlight Boba, amazing. And Sip and Savor. Did I get that right? My little cousin
Yes.
Abigail in Grafton, Mass. Absolutely amazing protein drinks to start your day. Check her out as well.
Yeah.
So,
So
what do we got, Matt?
So yeah, I mean, we're like I said, we're gonna keep it pretty mainstream here. Uh, NBA, that's kind of the talk right now. They had their big All Star game last night.
Oh, boo!
What?
Boo! How do we not lead with hockey?
Oh well,
Come
I,
on.
I I mean the hockey. We got two people watching right now. I would love to touch on hockey as
Okay.
more people trickle in. Um, if anybody,
Hmm.
if you're here, you want to touch on hockey, bring up hockey. But I think it's a great segue because these two things go hand in hand, right? Because
They do.
the NHL and NBA have very similar goals. The NHL is I don't know how the frick they're succeeding so well outside of the politics and everything coming into play, right? Some heated stuff there, but the NBA cannot get these guys to play hard, and so talking about the NBA, I think, is a great way to compare the two. So first, we're going to talk about the failure, right? And that's my opinion. My dad could have a different opinion. We haven't talked about this yet, but the NBA had their big, you know, show last night. This is completely revamped. It feels like every year we're getting exposed to a brand new experience from the NBA. And I already said I thought it was a failure. Dad, I mean, your first impressions on this new format?
Oh, it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. For all the reasons I knew it would be. It's, you know, you're taking you're taking time off in between games if you're in that first game. Whoever wins makes it to the little championship thing. It, there's really still no incentive to try. I
Nope.
mean, that's the biggest problem with a garbage NBA All-Star game. There's just no incentive to try. There just isn't. They put the young team in there, and I thought, like, if I was a bet man, I would have put some money on them, thinking they were going to try. But nope, they got their butt handed to them in their first game. And it's just, it's just they should possibly just try to stick with the slam dunk contest, 3-point contest, and maybe amp up the skills part of it because nobody wants to see the games and the players don't want to play in them. I mean, what do you do to fix it? There's nothing.
Yeah. I like there's really nothing. I kind of like the goal that Shaq and Chuck did with the kind of the Americans and versus the international team. I think there's some value there. There's some fire, but at the end of the day, I mean, my buddies and I play harder defense at Dean Park and Shrewsbury on Fridays, right? Like these just blow by layups all day. I mean, if it wasn't for the threes, then it would be 100% field goal percentage because nobody was defending any sort of a layup. Everyone let everybody get by them. The young guys, I think they just kind of fell in line. They didn't want the vets slapping them in the back of the head for playing too good of a defense. I thought the rising stars were going to take it way more serious. And I think that's
Mm.
what you touched on, right? It's a lot more money for them to win the whole thing. I think there's like, a $500,000 prize or something like that. I don't know, 100,000. But they really didn't. They kind of fell in line and just let the OGs and the older players just kind of walk all over them. And those games were fast. I think the time of the actual game time was somewhere around like 45 minutes, but the entire show was 3 hours. And the NBA must have
Oh,
known that was going to be the case. So how'd they fill those 40 those those full 3 hours? It was just a ton of ads and fluff. I mean, I can't believe I actually watched that. I don't my son was super interested in it. It did suck to see Tatum get absolutely robbed, but Kevin
Yep.
Hart inserting himself like so much into the game, talking smack to players. Shea Gilgeous out there on the court just trying to play the game. You got Kevin Hart making fun of his shoes. And by the way, I'm sure Nike's pissed about that because he's calling, Shea Gilgeous's shoes mustard shoes and everything like that. Shea Gilgeous just dropped those shoes. Those are a brand new release. Those are his new signature shoes, and he's getting made
Ooh.
fun of. So I don't like. I mean, what was the other thing? Anything else you hated about this thing, Dad?
Hey, talk about different universes. The NBA and the universe and NHL. It's just, I mean, it's just completely different worlds. The whole experience. It's just, I mean, if they can try to emulate what NHL is doing and make it USA versus the world, I'm still not sure that would garner a lot of interest. I mean, you have to give the players real incentive to play, and I'm not even sure you'd even get the guard play out of out of the world when it comes to the NBA because they get some elite big men, right? You got Jokic and you got the Greek
Well,
Freak,
Shea Gilgeous is a guard
Shea
for
Gilgeous too, But I mean, after those three, I don't know who else you fielding that can compete with the USA
Wembanyama,
All Stars.
and then
Yeah.
yeah, I'd have to
I
look.
mean, it's
I
not
mean,
that they could throw out a good start in five against them. I don't know. You have to make it so the players just try. It would be good if they tried. They tried a little bit back in the old Bulls day, in the 80s and even the 90s. They tried a little bit. That's why the score was more reasonable and it was a little more competitive. They had pride. And now, but Matt, again, I how do you blame them? I
no,
don't want Tatum and
I don't
Brown
want
trying
them.
their hardest.
It wouldn't be nice if
Hell
they tried.
no. I don't want them to. I want them to just jog down the floor, chuck up threes, and play nothing as far as defense goes. So I
No,
think
I
the
completely
game should
agree.
just be scrapped. Simply scrapped. Stick with try to put the other three events on steroids. The dunk contest, the 3-point contest, and the skills competition. Just make the night about that. Have make a big deal out of those three events. See what you can do to gain interest. But man, everyone seemed to love that, McClung kid in the slam dunk contest. The 3-point contest, good, if it's just the best ones in the league, if Steph Curry, was going up against,
I can't believe
some
they
of the
can't
other
get
elite
Steph
shooters.
Curry, up there reliably. I mean, and
Yeah.
you know what I think would probably be the only really good way to save it would be some sort of a one-on-one challenge. I know it's different, but some sort of king of the court one-on-one
Ooh,
that would be super
that is a
interesting.
great idea.
But
That
I
is a
mean,
one-on-one. Oh, I love that.
yeah,
But
I think
again, they're not going to agree to that. It's
yeah,
just not. And
and,
no team's going to want their player doing that because that's just talk about it, asking for an injury.
well, I mean, and you think about the biggest problem is the players, right? It's the all stars, and the only way to make All Star Weekend any better is to not involve All Stars. I mean, that's why the dunk contest is one of the highlights is because it doesn't involve the All Stars because these guys are actually trying. This is kind of their 15 minutes of fame, McClung and all those other guys. But any other skills, you kind of have to get creative and bring in players who want to hustle. Um, I don't know how you get the actual all star players involved. Maybe you don't scrap their game, but you do a kind of a one-on-one challenge and you ask around the league. You don't have to be an all-star, but who really wants to play? Who really wants to a 2-on-2 like a real 2-on-2? I don't know.
Yeah, I love the one-on-one.
Yeah,
Top 32. That's a great idea by you. Top 32 guys in the league, right? They're like a bracket.
play to 5 or
The
something.
winners move on, then it's down to 16. The winners of that move on, then down to 8, 4, and then 2. Make it a game to 5. You
Yeah,
know, like no 2-pointers, no 3-pointers, game to
yeah. It's be
5,
ones and
8
twos.
baskets, 1 point. You know
No
what I mean?
rebounds,
Oh,
right? Yep. Yeah. You miss a shot, you just take it, you check it, you
you got
go
to
right.
yeah, you miss a shot, you get a clear past the 3-point line. Man, I love that. That would
Yeah.
game to 5, heck yeah, that'd be pretty damn good.
I know the
I'd watch
NBA's
that.
yeah, the NBA is just, grasping at straws, but at the same time, if the players are in there, like you said, you have to find the right mentality of players. But the thing is that these guys play tough games, tough one-on-one in practice. I don't know if you've ever seen,
Yeah,
some of the videos from the Auerbach Center. These guys hustle, like they play their one-on-ones in practice. They take it seriously. So I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But yeah, I mean, the other, I think the most egregious part of this whole thing was during the finals, the quote unquote finals, the 20 plus minute break they had in it. I know all the players are coming out against it. I was so against
oh,
it. Talk about a horrible product. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Inside NBA, but this, like, get out here and pat each other on the butt for 20 minutes and have Kevin Hart serve up some lame jokes while the game's going on. Tatum was on fire. He was like 3 for 3. He had like from 3 or
yeah.
something like that. I was like, this guy might put up 25 points in this, and they just throw ice on him and they do this garbage. I mean, I've
Yeah,
never seen something more egregious.
they can't bring it back. It was a complete failure. Nobody enjoyed it, So I mean, we'll see what the NBA does. I think they should scrap the game altogether, but it's going to get to that point someday if they don't want to try. I mean, the NBA has to do something with that weekend. They because they want to make their money. They want the teams and the players to go on some type of little break. But yeah, you said it, man. I mean, I feel like that's the way to go. It's a great idea, that one-on-one tournament, top 32 players. People would tune into that.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
That
Uh,
would be amazing.
And I would love to see Kyrie Irving one on one. Of course Kyrie Irving's a prick, but he's a really
Yeah.
special ISO player. Him one on one in the finals against Tatum or something like that. So, I
Oh,
mean,
terrific.
now let's flip the coin. My dad wanted to jump right to it, and I think everybody wants to talk about it. And we don't talk about politics on this show. My dad and I try to make a point of it. My dad especially really does not want to involve any sort of politics, but there were some geopolitical politics involving in that that Four Nations game. Dad, I mean, what's your big takeaway? How do you feel about that game?
I mean, just what a thing of beauty. Of all my years of watching sports, by far the greatest all-star game I've ever seen. And, there used to be some good ones a long time ago when the players tried in all four sports. But, you know, to me, it's not just the politics. This has been going on forever. Those Canadian losers up north disrespecting our national anthem. We don't do it down here. Trust me on that. The last game my son and I went to with my grandson was against the Toronto Raptors. We didn't hear anybody booing the
Nobody
Toronto
booed.
Raptors national anthem. When I went to see the Red Sox hosting the Blue Jays, when I went to see what was it, freaking oh my god, the Bruins games, Canadians, the Maple Leafs. We were never booing their national anthem. Never. And so I get that the attention was turned up because of the whatever it is, the politics going on with Trump and Canada and all that. And so more awareness was brought to it. But I mean, come on. Like, what are you doing booing someone's national anthem? Like,
Yep.
have some class, have some respect. And oh my God, did I love what USA did there? And those two players, especially Matt Kachuk, I cannot stand, but God bless him on that day. Basically, what they said was if the Canadian fans disrespect our national anthem again, people are going to pay.
Yep.
And it was absolutely glorious. Thank God I wasn't 2 seconds late to watching the game because I literally would have missed it. 1 second into an all-star game, gloves are dropping and they're fighting. And I'm like, wow, what a great start. Next thing I know, 2 seconds later, literally dropping the gloves,
Wait.
fighting again. I'm like,
All right.
sing. And sure
Sound
enough,
the
it's
alarm.
hockey. We need a hat trick. We need the hat trick. 6 seconds later, dropping the gloves. And sure enough, USA beat the bag, two wins and one draw. And that draw, that Miller on USA is a lot smaller than the
Oh
guy he
yeah,
fought on the Canadians. So but we got
yeah. We got
Scatter the
Scatter the
wins.
wins.
Oh, love
I
Scatter.
Scatter the wins. It's so good to see you, man. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully the winter's not hurting you too bad up there in Canada. And Scatter the wins. I
Yeah,
mean, I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Canadians have been kind of booing the national anthem. Like Montreal Canadians have kind of done that a couple times. I think in my past experiences, especially those
I've
Bruins
heard it
playoff
quite
games.
a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what an absolute battle that game was, and for both sides to step up. The Canadian team did not back down. All three players
Nope.
stepped up, took their fights.
They handled
Um,
it. They handled it
yeah,
with class. The players
nothing
did absolutely.
nothing dirty from either side. And they went and they played a pretty clean game after that. And these guys are
Awesome.
trying. Great hockey.
Oh, I mean, you talk about absolutely hitting a double grand slam. The NHL. I mean, this has been absolute magic. I guess Russians aren't involved because of what's going on with the Ukraine again. I don't want anything to do with politics. So, but man, what a show! What an amazing game! That was just absolutely awesome. And then they get to square off again. So, buckle up, people. It's going to be great. But Scatter the wins. It just I know we're no like America's kind of the villain of the world a lot of the times, but we don't do stuff like that. We don't boo other countries' national anthems. It's sports. Yeah, it's okay to be competitive. It's okay to like hate the opponent and all that good stuff. But man, why is that necessary? Why is that
Yeah,
necessary to just we're playing our national anthem. Some I don't know if it wasn't an American singing it, but what if that's like some teenage girl like from America who's got her big break, and they fly her up there and singing the national anthem and they're booing her while she's trying to like perform the moment
yeah.
of her life. Like, come on, guys! Like,
So,
what are you doing there?
and like it's gonna go both ways. So Scatter the wins. I really hope in the final on Thursday, America doesn't try to do the garbage back to Canada. I don't want to see.
I hope not.
I don't. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised because it's been such a focal point of a lot of the stuff recently. But one thing I will say, my buddy Tim was supposed to go to one of the Four Nation games. I think he was trying to go for Thursday. So tickets for tonight are $230 for the cheapest one on Ticketmaster right now. The game starts in 11 minutes.
Wow,
$230,
no
right?
kidding.
Wow, you said wow, right? Guess what? Thursday's final game tickets are in the Garden. For now that the U.S. and Canada are almost locked in to play against each other. Can you take a guess? The cheapest ticket in the house.
Cheapest ticket, 700.
The cheapest ticket in the house is $1,200.
What? What
That's
is this?
like,
The Super Bowl? What is going on?
yeah. This is so it's in Boston. Scatter the wins. I really hope that
Oh,
I really
I hope
hope
we
that
don't.
we
Yeah,
boo. I
we
hope we
take the
don't
high
boo.
road.
I really hope we don't boo because again, it's just I think it's silly, but yeah, if my buddy Tim was supposed to go and he's like I couldn't stomach the prices. I'm like, what's wrong with the prices? I look the cheapest
Yeah.
ticket. You're sitting behind the goal in the nosebleed, row 13, 310, and it's $1,215. I don't even know, and that's plus fees. So I don't even know how much that ends up coming out
That's
to be.
that is absolutely insane. And I mean, hey, it should be. Hopefully, it's another great game. Hopefully, Boston people do not stoop to that level. Do not boo their national anthem. You know, just cheer like you're supposed to cheer. But man, Charlie McAvoy lighting up McDavid, and you know what a game that was.
Yeah,
All
handing
Star game supposed to be like 10-9 as a score. It ended up really being a 2-1 game the entire time with an empty net. So they were
yeah,
playing.
and that was so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was Crosby's first loss as a captain of Canada. Whenever he's been the captain of the Canadian hockey team, they have been undefeated. I think my buddy Andrew told me that. I don't know how many wins. They should do away with every All Star game. Steve, I think the only way you get
Oh,
competition is national pride, because like you could maybe pull it out of the international stars versus the US, right? Um, for NBA, but you're totally right. All-Star games are, they should just really be a showcase, a celebration of the game. It's not meant to, see the best stacked against the best. I think there will be some light booing only. Skylands, we'll see. I wouldn't put it past Boston fans to be very petty, very lubed up. It might happen, Scatter. If it does, you could tell you
yeah.
Old Bull and Young Calf are we do not condone it. Just a heads up. We want to keep
So
that stuff out of the game.
Steve, when it comes to the NBA and NFL, absolutely. I don't think you can make a case for that with hockey now. This worked. This is huge. You can't squash this now what the NHL has done. This needs to be a yearly thing until there's no interest. And baseball, those guys try. The pitchers, they don't go out like and throw 80 miles an hour in the All-Star game. Like then batters aren't up there like, just trying to tap the ball into center field. They're trying. That game's competitive. Keep MLB's All Star game. Absolutely keep this NHL All Star game. Yeah, and do away with NFL, which they pretty much have, right? They down to flag football and NBA. Scrap the game. Just make it all about just the skills competition, or just do what my brilliant son said. 32 players, one-on-one tournament. That would be amazing.
Yep. And we got Tim. Hey, was Old Bull Young Calf starting a GoFundMe to send Tim to the Four Nations all final game on Thursday. Tim, we were just talking about those prices because of what you brought up. What a home run for the NHL. There's no way those prices, would be that way, I think, for a standard All-Star game. That's a special game. It's in a hockey city. Absolutely love that about it. They're not, kind of shoving it into like Vegas and saying, hey, here's a, you know, here's some hype for your new team or whatever. They're putting it in a hockey city. The game's in Canada. I absolutely love to see that. So overall,
Not to mention
yeah,
McDavid too,
yeah,
like
McDavid.
crying because they didn't call a penalty when he clearly just fell on his own in the first, I think it was 5 minutes of the game. It's stuff like that. It's like, dude, everyone's playing hard. Everyone's giving it their all. Everyone's fighting and going strong. Get that garbage out of here, McDavid. You didn't get tripped. Like, I don't want to see any of that. And another thing I'm looking forward to is Brad Marchand playing for Team Canada in Boston.
Oh, I know, right? I
Yeah.
think I think he'll love it.
Boo his ass.
Yeah, boo Martian. That would be great. And like you said, the hits from McAvoy on McDavid. I think one of the really funny stats that came out is they had a stat block pop up and it said McAvoy 4 hits, 2 on McDavid, 2 on Crosby. So they were counting who he was hitting.
I love
I mean,
that. Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm really hoping this tournament sparks something for Elias Lindholm. Which team is he on?
Sweden, I believe.
He's on
Has he
Sweden.
done anything? Because I haven't watched the other games, really. To me, it's all about USA, Canada.
Sweden had 2 overtime losses. That is absolutely rough for them.
Yeah, I don't know how Lindholm did.
Lindholm only got
Yeah,
10
that'd be
minutes
nice.
-1 in the first game. In
Oh,
the
that's
second
it?
game, he had 10 minutes. He had 1 shot, 2 block shots.
Wow.
Tim, I don't know what's going to spark anything in him because
Well,
he pretty much.
he had kind of turned it on, didn't he, before the All-Star break a little bit? Or at least he had a stretch where it felt like he was putting up some points, not necessarily earning the money he's making, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Elias Lindholm, I don't blame that guy. He's a really good second line center. The Bruins are forced to play him, forced to pay him because we were just so barren at center. Forced to pay him, forced to play him on the first line where he doesn't belong. I don't really blame Elias Lindholm too much. Hopefully, the Bruins get a number 1 center going into next year somehow, and he's in his rightful spot where he belongs, which is second line. And with 2 good wingers, you'll see he's a valuable second line center. But that's all he is.
Yeah, one can hope. Was Fabian Lysell? Did he get a nod on the Swedish team? No, he did not. Spoiler alert.
No.
Yeah, Tim, I don't know if you been able to watch any of these Four Nation games because I've absolutely been loving it. I love the jerseys. The jerseys are awesome too. Um, I don't know. Overall, I think the NHL gets an A plus. Whose ever idea this was for the NBA, go back to the drawing board, scrap everything you came up with, and do it over again. Because I do not want to experience that again. I don't. I the only my son was super excited for it. He's like, oh, we got LeBron on Tatum's team. We got Kyrie Irving on
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown. Like this is awesome. Blah blah blah. And he watched it. He
Nope.
had a blast, but that was pretty much the
LeBron
only
didn't even
person.
play.
LeBron did not
Yeah, he
play.
sat out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him. I wish Tatum and Brown said, oh, my back before the game, but they made it through unscathed. That's all that matters. That's all I care about. And we have an amazing game to watch Thursday night. So,
I'm yeah,
hopefully that does not disappoint.
I'm circling the calendar. I wonder what the game looks like today for the USA team. I don't think they'd probably try that high. I would like an everyone else team. Pasta should have been playing. I completely agree. Uh, Tim, it'd be great to see some sort of like an international team for those smaller countries. I do think it's kind of unfair for guys like Pasternak and Kurt Ram. Kurt Ram is the man. He's going out of his way, going on YouTube and commenting there, which we really appreciate. Kurt, you don't have to do
Love
that.
that.
Thanks for taking the time to do that for us. Skills like crazy. Lindholm is 6'10", 210, and plays like he's 5'10", 180. I don't know if that's a
He
compliment
does.
or
Kurt's right. No, it's not.
it's yeah.
Kurt's a hockey guy. That's not a compliment. Absolutely not. Love
Yep.
Kurt.
Skills like agree, Tim.
Kurt, book a show in March. I might be coming up in March. Book a show with Greendales in March if you can. I'll definitely try to stop by that. Absolutely. Love that guy. But
Yeah.
if we're gonna do an everyone else team, if you might be able to pull it off if in the player from their country, they wear that color, right? And it's okay if the other team, the visiting team, has white, all white. You know what I mean? So even if one team looks like kind of a rainbow, it still works if they're all white or they're all colored. You know what I mean, Matt?
Yeah.
So like if one is like a Russian team with like so that guy has a red jersey and he's playing with someone from I don't know whatever Poland, and that guy has like a blue jersey. It works if they're all divided. So that can be it's an interesting idea too. Having everyone else team. Who came with that? Tim Hilliard.
That
Tim
is
Hilliard.
Tim. Tim's Tim's
Yes.
Tim's the man.
Yeah,
Love
Russian
Tim.
and Czech team. Like even if the Russians wear one color in their symbol, and the Czechs wear another color in their symbol. As long as it's one team has all white and the other team has nothing but colors, it would work.
So I mean, somebody did a bit of a breakdown. So we have Russia, like you said, Russia's kind of getting blackballed here for reasons. Cheshire, it'd be great. I think you need 24 guys to field a team. Is what somebody said. But
Yeah.
Latvia, I imagine you could probably field a team of 24 with some high level play, and put somebody out there. And we'll see about Russia. I know that there's a lot going on there. Maybe they kind of let him play under another banner. I don't know how many of those guys would actually do that. Need a Russia Czech team. Pasta and Draisaitl on a team would be awesome. It would be awesome. Too bad they're not freaking Bruins team. That'd be
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, missing guys like Draisaitl. That's not. I think
Not great. No.
I think the NHL is going to have a great foundation going forward. They were like, okay, this was great. Now, how do we make it even better? What did we miss here? And I think guys like Draisaitl and Pasternak, I think they got to find a way to fit them in, and see if they can maybe like field a team, like you said. But you'd have to add two more teams, right? I don't think you can just do six.
It feels like
You
it.
do five.
Yeah. Now it's tough. Now you're talking about a really long extended break. If you're going to do round robin where everyone's playing each other once, now you're talking 5 games and then not including playoffs. Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah, that is
I'm not
really
sure
tough.
pull that off. Yeah. So, but hey, they got a year to kick it around. So, oh, Olympics next year. Tim's right. Looking forward to that. Always looking forward to
Where
that.
where are the Winter Olympics in 2026? That is in Milan and Italy. Italy.
Yeah, they're always great. Winter Olympics. So,
I absolutely love when
forward
the
to that.
Olympics are not in the United States because usually that means I could watch them while I work. Don't tell my boss, but being able to put some games on at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., especially when they start 5 6 hours later, I do not mind that at
In the
all.
background. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anything else on the All Star games?
No, I mean we touched on it. We kind of we gave our grades. I really missed the fastest lap competition. I always love
Yeah.
watching like the speed. What was it? Martin St. Louis, that guy, watching him freaking
Mm,
fly around, wicked fast. While I love Sweden, Final Finland Sweden, we could field a Scandinavian team. That's
mm,
that's true. One curveball is I'm pretty sure those people like I don't want to say they hate each other, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of national pride between those two countries,
mm,
right? So who knows if they even want to be on a Scandinavian team.
yeah.
They might want to be their
If
own
you wanted
silo,
to go to 6 teams, you'd almost have to break it up into two divisions.
two
Three
groups.
teams in one, three in the other. Each one plays each other once, so it's like that's 2 games there. And I don't know, right? Like the point, whoever comes out with the most points of each, they play for the championship. You can't, we can't get to the point where we're having, you know,
4 or 5
six
games.
teams and everyone plays each other once. That's 5 games. That's too many. That's just too
Yeah.
many. And then that's not even counting the playoff, the championship game. So, but the NHL, hey,
Yeah.
they're
See.
they're obviously smarter than the rest of the leagues because their All Star game is fire, and All Star game for the rest of the leagues are nothing but poop.
Yeah.
So,
Tim
yeah, see
just
what they come
confirmed
up
it.
with.
Tim's a well traveled man. So like he said, been there. It's similar to
Mm.
U.S. Canada. Those I'm sure that they respect each other, but they don't love each other. That's for sure. Bad blood there.
Look who chimed in!
Ramona, really appreciate
Ramona!
it's like we're having
Love
our own
Ramona!
it's like we're having our own all-star game right now with all these people
I
coming
know,
in.
right?
Scatter the winds coming. We need Jeff Unknown in here, Pete maybe, to add to it, but with a lot of
Mm.
really
Yeah.
great really
Well,
great listeners and people who chime in.
the true All Stars are here now that Ramona's here also. So
Yeah.
we don't need that bum Peter DePadua. Screw him.
When you get Ramona
Ramona,
a
what did you
C.
want to touch on? Anything you want to touch on? Throw it in the chat. Well,
Yeah.
absolutely. We've been talking about that amazing NHL All Star game, the crappy NBA All Star game. Probably ready to touch a little bit on the Patriots and the Red Sox actually, taking a crowbar and wedging their wallet open. I mean, the the dollar bills probably ripped when Henry was trying to take them out,
Oh
but
yeah.
they actually spent some money on Bregman. So,
Yeah.
let us know if there's anything you want to touch on, Ramona.
Yeah, we'll circle back, Ramona, if you have any thoughts on anything we've already touched on. We'll move forward with the Patriots. So big news. Anybody who hasn't heard it, breaking news, I guess. But T. Higgins is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal next season. What they did is they signed him to the franchise tag, the non-exclusive one, so people can still negotiate. But if you sign him, you have to trade them 2 draft picks. It's not happening at all. Still in witness protection. Pete is, yeah.
Kurt, I
Poor
think he heard you were going to be in the chat and he got intimidated. So, I mean, that's Pete gets intimidated easy. It used to happen in street hockey. So, it's
Pete's
probably happening in the chat too. So,
Pete's
you
probably
know,
buried in like a snowdrift in like a parking lot right now. He went out plowing last night. He's stuck.
Pete's
I
gotten a little hefty. He might be on his back right now like a turtle. He's
yeah
like,
yeah.
can't get
Oh
up.
man,
Someone flip me over.
Dad,
Slipped on that ice up there.
the ice up here was like nothing else. I
Yeah.
have not had an ice storm like this. I was out in my driveway with a hammer, just hammering away at ice that was this thick the whole way.
Mm.
It was absolutely awful. I'm sure everybody else.
Today, yeah. Today I went out and I walked out the front door and I'm like, I might need a sweatshirt. And I'm like, no, it's not that bad. And I went to my car and I drove
Yeah.
away.
Yep. How many times you can be franchised? So, Kurt, what I looked at last night or last time, there's a percentage increase. So it really becomes, so it's two. Okay. So right now he's going to get like a 15 to 20% raise from last year. And I don't think there's any hard numbers out because I believe the franchise tag is just reported. I don't know if it's like actually official. I don't know if he's actually signed it. I don't know if he has to sign it. I'd have to double check that. The NFL is super weird. Peter DePadua, he's a troublemaker. I'm sure. Does Ramona know Peter?
Ramona, he's like a wannabe fan. Like he's not a great fan like you. He's kind of like a wannabe one. So don't need to concern yourself with Peter Padua. So don't worry about him. But Red Sox spending money. We're definitely going to touch on that in a second. Absolutely. Really quick, T. Higgins is not necessarily off the table. Like, don't listen to my son here. Okay, he's about to get franchised for the second time. Listen, the word's going to get out to Higgins what he can make on the open market. Patriots are going to leak it. I'm sure Washington's probably going to leak it. If Cincinnati tags him and doesn't come close to that number, he can hold out. He already was a good sport after getting tagged the first year. It's very rare that a player gets franchised twice and plays both of those years. So he will likely get traded unless Cincinnati can work out a deal and pay him insane money. But guys, they have Jamar Chase, Burrow's already getting paid. Hendricks, their star defensive lineman, needs to get paid. And Higgins too. You're talking about 140 million, close to that in cap dollars for 4 players. That's half your cap. Like that is really not good business. Will Cincinnati do that? It's stupid if they do. So we'll see how that plays out. And as far as trading them, I don't think you have to give up 2 picks. Is that like have to? I think it's
Yeah.
whatever the deal is.
No, I mean, so if you beat the offer, you have to give up 2 picks. I don't know if you can get the Bengals to sell cheaper on him, but it looks like Kurt he can get paid around 26.1 million. There is no way word hasn't got around to T. Higgins that people are willing to offer him upwards of 30 plus $1 million a year, right? So his agent knows that.
Absolutely.
He knows that. The Bengals played hardball with Chase last year. Chase held out. He didn't show up. He didn't do a lot of different things. They didn't pay that guy,
Yep.
and he still went out there and he played. So I know they're not afraid to do it with T. Higgins. They fully expect him to be back. I don't know how far T. Higgins is willing to go with this holdout. But man,
And Matt,
go ahead.
Chase is going to want more than Jefferson. He's going to want to be the highest paid player in highest paid receiver in the league.
As he
So
should
good
be.
luck with all that. Yeah, guys, chime in about the Red Sox. I mean, the Patriots, T. Higgins. I want to touch on the Red Sox for Ramona. You know, we have a pretty good damn lineup now. And our starting rotation, don't look now, but it's one of the better ones in the American League. The Red Sox are probably going to be back in the playoffs. A lot of teams make the playoffs now in Major League Baseball. And so you just need to be a little above 500. They have 6 good starters. And that's like a new trend in MLB. A lot of teams are thinking of going with 6 starters to preserve arms because that's been like the biggest like problem with MLB teams is they just can't keep arms. Everyone's throwing the ball 100 miles an hour, and they're wearing out their pitching arms because of that. So they have 6 good starters. They have a formidable lineup now with Bregman in there. They have some up and coming prospects that could crack the lineup this year, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not likely. Maybe we can get like a Jacoby Ellsbury spark. Who the heck knows? Or a Mookie Betts spark out of a rookie. So, but the Bregman deal, it's full of like, it's not a full 120 million, Ramona, because he could get out of it. It could be a one and done from what I understand. Could be 2 years and done from what I understand. And you know what? If it's one and done, Ramona, I'm okay with it. As long as they back the Brinks up for Vlad Guerrero next year. He's going to be a free agent. That's the guy I want. Young, power hitter, potential 300 batting average and higher going forward. Basically a potential Big Poppy, a young Big Poppy. That's the guy I want. So if Bregman's only around for 1 year and he bails, I am cool with that as long as we pay Vlad and get him here.
Yeah. No, and I mean, from a ownership standpoint, they should take it into consideration how excited everybody is. Everybody's super talking about the Red Sox now. They're in the media cycle. People wanted to see them spend money. They spent money on Bregman, and now it's like, okay, hopefully they get some sort of a dopamine rush and they feel good about themselves and they want to go out and spend more money because people are going to reciprocate that with excitement for the team. What do they do with Devers? Reported up here that he wanted saying hard no to playing anything but third base. Also, folks here think Bregman opt out after one. I mean, if he opts out after one, it's kind of like the Jake DeBrusk scenario. It's like you'd almost want him to play so good that he wants to opt out. It's almost a bad thing if he doesn't want to opt out because that means he didn't perform and he thinks he could yeah,
Yeah.
he so I want him to have the best year possible and I want him to want to opt out so that we actually just keep Drill out of the that's too soon, Kurt.
Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah.
Kurt.
That is a reference to Big Poppy assassination attempt happened in Dominican Republic, which is crazy because that guy is like, larger than life down there. So
God there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Yeah. No, I mean, this lineup looks great. And then you have guys like Jarren Duran. I mean, I'm so excited for Jarren Duran. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the MLB right now. All of his numbers and advanced metrics is like wins of a replacement and all this other stuff was up there with guys like the kid from the Kansas City Royals. Who's that really good young guy? I'm blanking on him. He's like super talented. Jarren Duran is not getting mentioned in the same sentences as a lot of guys he should because that guy's electric. When he's on the field, you never know. He'll take a single turn into a triple, right? I absolutely love watching him play. And like my dad said, we got Marcelo Mayer coming up. We have a couple other prospects that Robin Anthony, like the number one prospect in MLB right now.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him. So
yeah,
here we go. And I mean, if you live around Worcester, I think a lot of people from Worcester here, I think we might be able to see some of those guys. Hopefully they'll bring him up to AAA, see him in the Woo Sox, Marcelo and Roman Anthony this year out. Cause I'll buy some tickets. I'll head out there. I want a championship out of it. I don't want all this money going to waste. Listen, at least Ramona, I completely agree. I want a championship. I don't really care too much about their money. I don't want Pablo Sandoval. I don't think Bregman is that. But I want him spending money so bad. And like the 6 starters, Dad, I get the approach, but it's like, man, I wish we added one more of those really big arms in free agency. It just kind of sucks that we weren't able to do that.
Listen, as long as we're competitive, we're in the playoff hunt, you always get the trade deadline, Matt. Teams are selling, and you can tell Ramona's a Bostonian because absolutely, Ramona, championship or nothing. It's either championship or failure. Simple as that. We don't accept participation trophies around here. We don't have moral victories. We don't do that garbage. Okay. You're a true underdog. If you're the worst team in the league going into the year, I consider that by everyone, and you make it to the championship, fight to a game 7 and lose, you're a loser.
Okay? You are a loser.
You want championships, period. Either seal the deal, take home the girl, the big trophy, and all that fame. Otherwise, we don't want anything of it. We don't want nothing to do with it. So absolutely, Ramona. So hopefully, we have a summer to look forward to. Hopefully they're competitive, and trade deadline is actually something we look forward to adding to our team for once. So we'll have to see. But Devers, I know that's going to be a problem, Kurt. I don't know. Bregman at second base. I guess that's probably going to be the solution. I mean, talk about Devers. Thanks a lot for throwing like a cold blanket on our good news like so quickly. Oh, hey, yeah, great. We finally spent some money. Bring in a legit hitter, Powell right-handed hitter. Oh, by the way, I hope he doesn't plan on playing third base because I'm not moving.
Yeah,
like a freaking child. Like, I'm sorry, Devers, you are getting paid a pretty penny. By the way, I think you should just pretty much play wherever they tell you to.
Yeah, we got the Mandela effect 369. Mandela. I don't know if you've changed. Has he changed his name? Is this the same person?
Jamie, I don't know if he changed his name. I think,
Jamie.
yeah, he might have changed his name. Yeah.
Okay, what's
It's
up,
Jamie
Jamie?
Mandel. Yeah, went to
What's
high school with him.
Oh, Jamie, you bullied my dad in high school. You should have bullied him a bit more,
Probably.
Jamie. Yeah, it would have been it would maybe it turned out a bit different. But no, super
Great
exciting team.
defensive end for the Polar Bears. He had a lot of sacks his
Listen,
senior year. Really good defensive end. Absolutely.
Jamie, maybe we don't have to draft Abdul Carter. Jamie, can you shake off the rust
Suit up.
and play defensive end on the other side of Keon White and bring some pressure
Yeah.
for the Patriots? So yeah, I mean, the other thing, like this Bregman signing actually brought positivity out of Pete DiPaggio. It is the first time in any sports text. My dad and I started texting, I
Oh,
started texting Pete about sports, a handful of months ago. It's the first time I've seen Pete say something positive about any team, and it was when Bregman was signed. So
I got
overall,
dizzy. I almost passed out. I was like, wait, what is this? I was so confused when I got that text from Peter.
yeah. Devers' contract is going to haunt this team. I was thinking that, man, Jamie, right? I mean, we didn't sign Mookie.
It's possible.
We didn't
Yeah.
sign Mookie. We didn't sign Xander. I don't know how Xander's doing. I don't know if we wanted to sign Xander. We went for Devers. He's the building block. And now, is it crazy that we even ask him to move around? I think one of the things that Pete brought up today was how bad Devers is defensively. He's like the
Yeah, he's not good.
worst defensive third baseman. So it's like, does he really deserve that? Ramona
Jamie,
actually, go ahead, Dad.
yeah, so with Devers, hopefully he's a slightly overpriced, excellent DH someday. I mean, hopefully he's like a poor man's Big Poppy someday. Because you're right, with his defensive liability at third base, he's still a good hitter. So maybe if he at some point gets taken off the field and is solely in the DH role, and he just focuses on nothing but that, because he probably puts a decent amount of time in to trying to get better as a fielder, right? I mean, because he's terrible, he knows it, and he probably puts a decent amount of practice into that. So maybe if that's just taken away from him and he just focuses on nothing but hitting, maybe he turns into, Big Poppy Part 2, and, that contract's not so bad. But if that doesn't happen, you're right. If he ends up just being a decent power hitter, not great average, not great RBIs, and a disaster in the field, and, puts up those mediocre numbers as a DH, that's a bad contract. Absolutely.
Ramona, you're totally right. Duran is jacked. I gotta buy, his calendar. I'm sure he's got some sort of like, you know, we can maybe we should send it to Pete, like a Jaron
Oh, your
Duran.
wife, Liz?
And yeah,
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 Liz would like that
a nice
probably.
Ramona, on us, like a firefighter Jaron Duran calendar for you. Mason Graham. Mason Graham's getting a lot of talk. Really quick
Oh, yeah.
before we go, man, what you just said,
Don't
Jamie.
like it. Don't like it one
Jamie, really
bit.
quick, the bets through arbitration. I don't know what these cheap owners, the Jacobs with Swayman put us through a bunch of garbage at the start of this year with his arbitration. Running, stringing him along, not signing him long term, and then Betts. I mean, it'd be great to have Mookie Betts over here. He is still somewhat of a playoff choker. He didn't really do too great for the Dodgers. The Dodgers just so loaded they ended up winning. But I would check on Betts, and he doesn't produce in the playoffs, but again, another player that kind of got away from us. And we really latched on to Devers, and Devers is the building block. And I
Well,
don't know.
Matt, you got to get to the playoffs, and that's
Yeah.
one thing Bets can definitely help you do. You got to at least get there. But yeah, Graham is getting a lot of attention, Jamie. Oh gosh, I hope not. I can't, because that's a guy you trade down for if you're going to pick him. And if we trade down, I don't want that. At least trade down and get one of the damn tackles. Everyone's like, "Whoa, these tackles, Campbell, not good enough for the fourth overall pick." Fine, okay, so we trade down to 6, trade down to 8, and then draft them there. If we trade down, don't give me Graham Mason. Don't give me him. Don't give me Mason Graham. I don't want that. He's not Aaron Donald. If he was Aaron Donald, I'd go, okay, take him. He's not Aaron Donald. So you don't take him with the fourth overall pick. You don't take him with the sixth or eighth pick if you trade down. Take something that you absolutely positively need. Like I'm always saying, show Drake May you care about him. Look what Hurts did in the Super Bowl because he was the quarterback who had time. Hurts is half the quarterback Patrick Mahomes is. Patrick Mahomes didn't have time. Hurts had time. Look at the results. Okay? I mean, don't mess around at left tackle. If you can't get Stanley, who I'm a little concerned about him too, 31 years old and he gets paid a fat check, you know, still concerns me. If you can't get him in free agency, don't mess around. I want to see either Campbell or Banks Jr. on this team.
Yeah, and really quick, Jamie, you talked about Simmons out of OSU as the top 10 tackle. Um, I think you're right. The big issue with Simmons is he got hurt before like the meat of the schedule, so we really didn't get to see him about that high level talent. And I think that's a lot of the value. I think my dad and I both see is when they play against the other big teams. It's one of the reasons why N'Keal Harry was such a bad pick. He never really played against good teams, but uh, my dad talked about trading down right after us. I think the only team that would really trade down is the New Orleans Saints if they're trying to move on from Derek Carr. If we can go to 9 and maybe get their second this year, third next year, or something like that, maybe one of their really good players that they're trying to offload, because that would be the position. But we are in a really weird spot at 4. It makes that final um, win of the season so painful. We will need to sign Cam Robinson day 1 of free agency. Jamie, my dad is super afraid of these veteran tackles. I don't know why.
Not great. They're not
I
great.
yeah, but at the same time, how many good tackles come out of the draft? I mean, look at like Jake Fisher and
Plenty
all these
of
guys.
them.
Yeah,
Plenty of them.
I would love to trade
We're,
back like
we're
10 and
gonna
get a
do a
second.
show on. We're gonna do a show where we're gonna do the top first round tackles in the last 10 years. At some point, we're gonna do a show and see what the success rate is, and maybe I'll change my mind after we do the research. We'll have to see. But I want to show Drake May I care about him, his health, and give him time to see what that man can do when he's not looking like a Keystone Cop out there running around chasing invisible villains and just running for his life like a crazy person. I'd love to personally see that.
Yeah, and Kurt, you just mentioned it. Who's available in free agency? We got Cam Robinson for the Minnesota Vikings. He had like a wicked good pass blocking grade this year for the Minnesota Vikings. It's not. I don't know if that's something that he usually does. He was with the Jaguars prior to that, and then Ronnie Staley with the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, Baltimore Ravens have always had a great offensive line, but he's really played almost no complete seasons his entire career. He did play a complete season last year, contract year. So those are 2 guys that are kind of on the table from the tackle position. F. Mayo,
Hey,
man.
if they come in, they do a fine job. Then the old bull, the old bull eats some crow. Nobody admits they're wrong like the old bull when he's wrong. So I would, if they get him and they go another direction in the draft, I'll be glad to be wrong. They got their left tackle for the next few years, and they get an impact player with that 4th pick. I'm all on board for that. I just hope you guys are right. That's all I know. And yeah, rookie starting at left tackle is a little scary, but when they're the best left tackle in the draft, it usually works out. It usually does.
Here we go. So
Yeah.
again, this is the NHL getting it right. We got Ramona, and Ramona knows their stuff. If Ramona likes the product you're serving up, you're doing a good job. Ramona's leaving of course, she likes our product. Here she is. She's showing up for us, so we must be doing a good job. And now she's going to go watch the 4 Nations. So shout out to the NHL. Go USA.
Kurt said
Big
it's
game.
rocking there in the Garden. And right, Kurt F. Mayo. Boy, did he pork us with that last win. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Talk about giving us double deuces as he walked out the door fired.
USA already up 1-0. Right, so less than 4 minutes in, and Chris Creeder scored. Jack Eichel with the assist, and Zach Werenski. We can't have the rookie be the starter. JB, my dad, we're gonna level set Jamie. He will see the light. And here's the problem, Jamie. I don't know if there's a worse pick in the draft than 4 right now. There's really 2 blue chip prospects, right? Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. I do not want Travis Hunter. I don't think Travis Hunter is the guy. I think he is like, he's close to the top for 2 different roles. I don't want to deal with the drama around that. But Abdul Carter is the guy this draft. He's the Marvin Harrison Jr. of last draft. I want him on the team. I don't think he makes it to us. I sadly, and then we're going to be stuck kind of throwing the dart in the dark with our eyes closed. And sadly, we still have Elliot Wolf in the front office who's going to be having his hand on that dart. And that does not give me a ton of confidence.
Matt, do we know if the two quarterbacks are going to be in the combine? We should probably look that up. We need those two to be at the combine. We need them to ball, look amazing, and for teams to be chomping at the bit to trade up to get them. So that way, if people give, Cleveland and Tennessee offers, they can't refuse if they don't want a quarterback. Two quarterbacks get taken before us, which is amazing. That's what you want. We have May. We don't need that. And now, we have either Andre Carter or, it's not like settling. Like Travis Hunter's good. That dude is a generational talent. It'd be a good problem to have. So,
Yeah.
But again, I want my left tackle. I'm all basing this on we got our left tackle in free agency,
Yeah.
So hopefully those two quarterbacks show out and, maybe even like one of those quarterbacks show out and slips to us and a team is desperate and wants to trade up to us and give us like a bag full of picks and we still get our left tackle. So, I'd be all on board for that too.
Yep. And Kurt, that is a squeaky toy. That is our producer, Gus. He's adding little soundboard noises. He's my dog. The meat of the draft is pick 15 and end of the third. I'm Josh Simmons. We talked about this last week. Josh Simmons is the number one rated tackle right now. ESPN has him up there. I know that pretty much everywhere else has Will Campbell higher than him, but Josh Simmons is getting a lot of love right now on ESPN.
I'm gonna have to look at his highlight reel because I looked a lot at Banks and Campbell, and I like what I saw out of those two. Jeff Unknown's here.
Yeah,
We
Jeff.
got almost the whole All-Star team. It's like the USA All-Star team is here. I love it.
Yeah, Jeff.
Absolutely.
Peter
DePadge would have been a bench warmer, so this is the real team.
Yes, Gus. Yeah, Gus does rock, and Jeff. It's kind of like frick. I'm blanking on what I was going to say to Jeff, but good to see you, Jeff. Hopefully you're surviving this storm. I know it was really bad in the Northeast, and I hope you're also enjoying the Four Nations. Jeff, I know you're cheering for Canada. I'm really curious how you feel about how you feel about the games. That's my buddy Andrew. He's the Sandman. Andrew, what in the world are you doing here right now? So really good to see Andrew. I can't believe Andrew's here. Thanks for showing up, man.
Mandela. We get when we start getting close to major draft talk, we got to get him on the show. He knows his stuff. He does a lot of research with the draft. So we definitely want to get Jamie on at some point. He said he would join us. So keep doing that homework, Jamie. We are going to have you on at some point. Absolutely.
I don't know. Jamie's going to come on. He's going to have a bunch of defensive tackles because the Nolan kid out of Ole Miss, he's a defensive tackle. Jamie wants us to win in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball, which I am not against, Jamie. I would love to have an imposing defensive line like that Eagles team that just won the Super Bowl. And I think we're closer to that point, especially with Barmore coming back next year, than we are to having an actual semblance of an offensive line. What else we got? I love Campbell, but those arms are pretty short. Uh-oh, Dad. You even got Jamie.
We haven't got the official measurement yet. Wait for the combine. We'll see there. Okay, so but Jamie, we get an early second round pick, third round pick. We're gonna need insight on other picks. So we're going to be tapping into your resources and your knowledge, absolutely. And Jeff Unknown, yep, 3 fights. Oh, we were talking about that, Jeff. God, best All-Star game I've ever seen in my life. That was absolutely amazing. And after those 3 awesome fights, a great hockey game after that. I can't ask for more than that.
Both teams really wanted to win that game. What a product we saw. And Jeff, I'm super excited. Everyone's, if you like hockey, you're circling your calendar for Thursday night. I think I'm really curious numbers wise, how that compares to one of the finals NHL games. I wonder if the game on Thursday pulls more or, close to an NHL finals game, because a lot of people are going to be watching that. A lot of different teams involved. I know WAI is lucky to have you, Jamie. So you keep that station alive. You don't annoy them. The final is going to be good on Thursday. Jeff, we were looking at ticket prices right now to go to the Garden to see that. You're looking the cheapest around $1,200 to go see the USA versus Canada for basically an all-star game.
It's not even a gold medal game. That is insane.
Watching from work right now. Good to see this popping up on my feed. Good luck with the streaming, brother. Hey, Appreciate you, Andrew. Andrew does not
Absolutely,
do
Andrew.
any sports, but he's probably one of the greatest little leaguers in history. He was a really good baseball player back in the day. Now he's too busy riding four
And you
wheelers.
know Kurt's going to be there Thursday night because he's a rock star. He makes millions touring with no alibi. So
Yeah,
you know Kurt's going to be in a luxury box there
yeah, he's
Thursday.
gonna be sitting. I heard that Kurt is like the Bon Jovi for Kraft, but he's that for the Jacobs, right? Kurt's sitting next to the Jeremy
Yes,
Jacobs. Okay,
absolutely.
every owner has to have their star-studded musician, so he's gonna be next to Jeremy Jacobs. Curtis
Yeah.
would disagree. Oh yeah, Curtis would disagree. That's above my pay grade.
Kurt Menahem, I think he's talking about. Yeah,
Oh, not Kurt.
from
Kurt
EEI.
is Kurt Minahan still there?
Oh yeah, he's an EEI, I believe. Yeah.
Who's the other
I
guy
don't
that
listen to
broke off
either
and went
one
to
of them.
Barstool? There's another guy who broke off and went to
Oh,
Barstool.
maybe. I don't know. I haven't listened to Boston Sports Radio in a while. I quit years ago, and 98.5. As soon as they started crapping on the Celtics during that championship run and when they won the championship, and now it was like a fake. I'm like, I'm out forever. I'm done with these guys. They go too far with the try to stir people up with the negative. So I don't get involved with any of those
Here we
talking
go.
people
Is that
anymore.
Jeff Tasca?
Oh, it is.
See,
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff. Once again, it's you don't even work with my dad anymore. He's still coming to his
Oh,
rescue. These are the stats
Jeff.
my dad is incapable of finding. Jeff Bruce Armstrong under the 33 kind of inch arm golden rule for tackles. He
Boom.
anchored the left tackle for 14 seasons. Enough of that
He was
stat.
awesome. Bruce
So there you go.
Armstrong. He was Big Jeff. And literally, Jeff Tasker is the smartest human being I've ever met on the planet. And I'm not saying he's the guy that if you tell him, hey, January 27th, 1903, he'll go, pop, 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 pop. That was a Thursday.
Yep.
Like
that
5 seconds later, and you'll look it up, and it was a Thursday. Like,
listen,
unbelievable brain. So
my
he knows what he's
foundation
talking about.
my draft pick foundation has best been shaken by Jeff Tasca. I don't like this. Jeff, I've been riding the Will Campbell short arm thing for months, and you just come in and you just break the foundation. Not cool, Jeff.
Jeff, how were those Patriots playoff parties we had with my boy? Oh, I had my buddy Jeff Tasker there. Really? Oh,
listen.
Man.
Listen, we got a battle in the trenches right now. We got Jamie, lineman back then. We're 270 pounds. Uh-oh.
Hey, Jamie, you back it down on my boy Jeff. You back it down. Okay.
Uh-oh. Listen, we got two but the reality is we want to see the Patriots pick a side of the ball and at least win in one of those sides of the ball in the trenches. We got run over on the defensive end. We got no pressure on the defensive end. And we let up all the pressure on the offensive end. There was no winning. I think we tried to do both, and we did both very poorly. So I think Patriots fans are hungry for that. Ha, right. I'll be on my couch with my Greendale salary. Yeah. Right. Listen, Kurt, that's Jacobs's loss. If you ask us, it's not your loss. Absolutely. That's for sure.
And Jeff Unknown is asking a great question because we wanted to know that last year in the playoffs when he was a complete bag of ass.
Yeah. I don't know, Jeff. That is a great question. Oh. I mean, we were calling for McAvoy's head, him and Lindholm. I don't exactly know why he stepped.
Terrible.
And it's one of those things where he's been in the league so long. You don't know if this kind of helps him turn a corner from these kind of big time games and show up when the teams need him, or if this is kind of just a flash in the pan. Is McAvoy young enough to make a change and be an impact player like this going forward, Dad?
He is. He's not old yet. I mean, it's just, people were hoping he was the next Ray Bork. He's never going to be that, but he can't buckle in the playoffs. You can't have that. He needs to have the game slow down for him. He looked like, I don't know. He looked so jittery last year. The turnovers were insane. The inability to carry the puck, the bad passes. It was just really bizarre to see. Hopefully it was a fluke. Hopefully this gives him confidence, and he turns things around from here. But, because we're paying that man a lot of money for a long time.
Kurt, I hate McAvoy, but I think a lot of this has to do with the deep partner and trust. Yeah, he's playing with the elite talent right now. Oh, Tim's coming in. McAvoy has been injured all year because he has to play with Zadorov. I'm just kidding. I'm shocked. We are an hour and 4 minutes in, and Tim has not mentioned Zadorov and his, unending
That is shocking.
despair
Yeah.
that Zadorov wears the spokes B. Has recently come. Hey, maybe he's healed up. I know he did take that time off, and that's kind of what we were hoping the players would do a lot last year, and instead, they kept pushing for different records, and the year before that. Get the rest you need. I understand hockey. We want to see, and like it's a different mentality. But I almost wish they adopted a tiny bit of what the NBA did, and did not take the regular season this hard. He's 80%. His 80% is still better than most. I completely agree. He does have
Yeah.
a ridiculously high ceiling. Fair point. Different era. Long arms can counter edge rusher first step. Just saying, don't be absolutist about arm length. If you can play, you can pay. You can play. So
Don't give in, Jeff. You were right the first time, especially because it backs up my point. You stick with your guns, my friend. You are
yeah.
correct, and you are the smartest human being on the planet.
So
So stick with that.
Jamie said his wish list: Cam Robinson, Chris Godwin, Khalil Mack. So Jamie, I'll add to that. I think my wish list is Ronnie Staley. I maybe Chris Godwin. It depends on what number is. Khalil Mack and probably Josh Sweat, or maybe Josh Sweat and not Khalil Mack. One of those two, I think would be good. We do have over like almost 130 million. So
I want Sweat. I want Stanley, and if we
Trey
can't get
Smith.
Higgins, at least get Slayton, a number 2 receiver. If we can't get T Higgins, maybe go after that guy. But I definitely want Sweat on this team. Absolutely. Uh yeah. Again, Matt, we invested so much in guard, money wise and draft pick wise. As awesome as that guy is for the Chiefs, I don't want any more guards. We need tackles.
Yeah. No, I know. It's almost addition by subtraction though, because you're taking the best lineman from the Kansas City Chiefs, Chase Smith. I know, and I think he also does play Winu's primary role in the offensive line, so it is kind of tough there. Zadorov isn't playing in the Four Nations, so he's ignoring it for now. Tim's going to keep the chamber loaded for Zadorov. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm just saying you can't do that at 4. I agree. I agree, Jamie. You can't reach at 4. 4 is a really weird spot. Every time Zadorov tries to make a play, the opponent blows Zadorov. Oh, yeah, blows right by him. Or
McAvoy has 22-inch arms, and he's not talking his biceps. He's talking about the length. He is a little stubby.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And when that guy gets by him, Kurt, he usually trips him or something because he's just drawing so many penalties. It's absolutely crazy. Higgins will stay put and end up in Washington. Oh no, don't say that. And you know what? That's also
They
a
have a lot of
problem.
cap space.
They do have
They
a lot
have
of
a lot
cap
of cap
space,
space.
and they're much more desirable. As much as we have the potential to really reach what Washington did, Washington straight up reached
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
Kurt
No,
Ram
absolutely.
making fun of T-Rex arms, Charlie McAvoy. If I'm Sweeney, Zadorov is my number one target to move on from, even if it means packaging Frederick or Brazeau or more. Probably have to eat some of his cap too.
Oh yeah. You might have to throw in a draft pick too to get rid of that albatross because it's not good. Not a good try. 5 more years, I think we have after this year. That's just not good. And Jamie, yep. If you're reaching it for, trade back. Just make sure you get one of those two. Just make sure you get Campbell or Banks. That's all I care about. Trade back and you get an extra second round pick. That'd be amazing. Extra second and third, maybe a third next year. I'm all for that. Some team want, but just get one of those two. That's all I'm asking. If you don't get, Cam Robinson or Stanley in free agency, if that's the route we go, at least they're NFL players. They do have a bit of a track record. So I guess I wouldn't cry too much about that.
Yeah, I mean, this Patriots team's in a very similar position to the Bruins, right? We need a tackle, and the Bruins needed a center, and they had to pay Elias Lindholm, right? Luckily, the cap in the NFL is a lot more forgiving, and we have a ton more cap than the Bruins had, I think, comparatively as percentage-wise. But we're going to have to pay one of these veteran tackles. I mean, if we draft one of these tackles, I know there's like also another guy from like West Virginia or like Wichita State or something like that, a big boy who's pretty good. There's some sneaky tackles in this draft. I think you still have to sign a vet. I don't know how many years you can sign them for, but you can't miss. I'm really hoping we don't end up, alone at the bar like the Red Sox have multiple times this offseason with some of these big picks, because there's bodies out there. It also does suck that, our draft, I'm sorry, our cap space isn't aligning with a bigger, free agent, because man, I wanted T. Higgins. Chris Godwin is a tough pill to swallow after having T. Higgins right there. Chris Godwin is older. He's been
He might not be
nagging
ready.
injuries. Yeah, nagging
His
injuries.
injury was like end of the year. He might not be ready to he might be on the pup list. So
Uh
he's always injured. Yeah,
so
he got
so
hurt late in the year.
so Jeff, this is dipping into a tough area, right? It's late in the podcast, but maybe for next time, with Old Bull, who would you replace Don Sweeney with in a perfect world? Jamie has a guy. I don't know if this is the same guy, Jamie. If you're talking to, so anybody off the top of your head, Dad, who you would replace Don Sweeney with?
I gotta be honest, I don't. I don't have anyone. Ideally, it'd be who has the best prospects in the league. Okay, who's second in charge there? Who's the second GM there? Who's the right hand man of that guy? Find out. Is he a big part of that? Is he a big reason why that they have the best farm system in the, whatever, the best, you know, Patriots type players in the league? Get that guy in here, someone who can draft, someone who, can stack our farm system with some prospects, because it is barren and it is not good. We thought we had, you know, Lysel, Patras, and Markelov, and two of them can't even sniff the ice, and the Bruins suck this year. Think about that. Two of them can't even sniff the big club. All we have is Patras for hope. That's it. And they dick that poor kid around. We need some youth. We need that. So, I don't have a guy, I'm going to be honest with you, but it'd be ideally target someone like that.
Yeah, and listen, Kurt, you share, you celebrate your boys. You got Tyler Ram, Sunyak
Absolutely.
Conference Rookie of the Week for St. Plattsburgh. Looking at it right now, team is 13-10-1. And here we go. Go cardinalsports.com. Ram scores twice in men's hockey. Shout out to your boy, man. I don't know if that's your nephew, your son, what that is to
His
you, but
boy Tyler is the man.
yeah.
Absolutely. Giving us an update on that anytime, Kurt.
Yeah,
Definitely.
bring it in. So shout out to them. Congrats, man. That's actually really cool seeing them in the news like that. Millam is the
Tim, that's
guy
going
that,
to be helpful.
yep. Millam is the guy, that the West Virginia kid. He's also got really short arms, 32 inches and I think 2/5 arms. So kind of a similar, but he's bigger. He's like 6'6". I don't know. NHL cap is projected to jump 39 million in the next 3 years. This Four Nations might help. The extra money that this is bringing
Yeah.
in, maybe that helps. Get them a bit more TV contracts, because the NHL is not doing great in that area. But it will make Zadorov's contract feel a little bit less frustrating, but still, the length of that for how much is going to be a killer. 6 goals in 5
Yeah.
games. He's like you, Old Bull. Dad, did you ever score 6 goals in 5 games? I don't think my dad
I
scored like
I am
6
pretty
goals in
sure
5
that
games against
never
me in the
happened.
backyard. I don't know if that
Yeah.
happened.
I had some good, decent point years, but they were mostly high in assists because I was playing with Peter's brothers, Matthew DePadua and Jeff DePadua, who were insanely good at street hockey. So I was like the speedy winger on the right, and so I just, I'd get, some goals from their amazing passes. I would just give it to them, and they'd stick handle around 5 guys and score. So I don't know if I've ever gotten 6 goals in 5 games. I got a few hat tricks, so maybe I did in there somewhere. So who knows?
Heck yeah. Shout out to your boys, Nick and Tyler, Kurt. And thanks for sharing
Nick
that, man.
too. Absolutely. I see all those pictures on Facebook. Like I almost grew up with them. I love seeing those boys, making some
Succeed.
noise out there in Iceland.
Heck yeah. And I'm okay with moving Frederick Brazeau Coyle if it means Lysel, Markelov get time. Tim, I mean,
Absolutely.
my dad's been banging the drum. He's down to just kind of ship this year off into the sunset. And, it hurts him to say it, but
Yep.
if we do that, that's great. I'm on board, but don't play Pasternak 25 minutes a game with 20 shifts. Like, give Patra and these other guys time. I'm really curious what this Bruins team looks like once the playoffs are out of reach? You know, what is the minute
Yes.
distribution? Are they going to just keep riding our veterans into the ground? Are they going to give Lysol a fair shake? And if that's the outcome, maybe missing the playoffs is the best because we could actually see what some of these younger guys get out there. It does kind of suck
And
to say.
Potras was developing some chemistry with Pasternak. Those two had some points going for a few games in a row, and then all of a sudden he just wasn't playing with them again. So, yeah, that's another benefit. Not if it looks like we're not going to make the playoffs, I would think they'd have to call up Lysol and Merkelov to see what they have in the last month and a half of the season. But who knows?
Yep, and another shout out from Kurt Ram on this format. I mean, pretty much anybody who knows hockey
Yeah.
that I've seen says they love this format. So once again, kudos to the NHL. Elias Lindholm out there right now that's now tied 1-1. Elias Lindholm is -1 with 2 penalty minutes. That's not good. And he's playing in his house too. He should feel comfortable. This is your house, Elias. Come on. Rumors had Freddie for Creeder. Get out of town.
I would do that. I would do it. I'm all for shakeup. Give me any type of shakeup. I'd trade anywhere.
Once trade
As
line
long as you're
passes,
getting decent value back.
once trade line passes, we stop dressing the vets with lipstick. I know it really does feel like sometimes we're just kind of padding stats to make these guys look good.
Yeah.
But Creeder, 16 goals this season, 4 assists. I don't know what he's like as a historical player. Oh man, he had 39 goals last year, 36 the year before, 52 the year before that. Chris Creeder, 33 years old. Man, he's been in the NHL since 2012. That's a
I don't
long
care.
career.
It's something new, and Trent Frederick's not getting you anywhere. He's really a fourth line player. We play him on the third line. He's not even a third line player as far as I'm concerned. So I don't care. Just give me something different. I just want something of value back. Trade almost all of them, really, at this point.
Yep. Four Nations trying new overtime rules, 10 minutes, 3-on-3, so much better. I love the 3-on-3 overtime in the AHL. It's like so tense. It's such good television. Kurt with the Tim shout out. Tim. So I mean, we're an hour and 17 minutes. I told my wife, I'm like, there's really not much to talk about. It's gonna be a short one. And she says, you say that
It's a
every
great
single
show
Monday.
because of you guys.
Yeah. Listen, I love chatting about sports with everybody. Super appreciate everybody taking the time to get on here and chat with us. And this is the reason we do this is because, my dad moved to Florida. We were talking, very, not much, but sometimes we talk, and whenever we talk about sports for a long time. It's like, you know what? Why not do this as a podcast? And now we can get more people involved. And I'm so thankful we get to do this every week and, get to talk to these different people. So another great show. Hour and 18 minutes.
Love you guys.
Yep. Frederick was a tough guy. We don't need that in our current makeup. Yeah, Tim. All right. We need a lot in our current makeup. Toughness is not in that list.
We need talent, guys who can actually score and stick in a little bit around somebody else.
Yeah. Yep. So that's all I got. You guys are the best. You're the best, Kurt. We appreciate you. Appreciate Tim, all the other guys, Jeff, everybody for tuning in, Ramona. Thankful for you guys. And I hope everybody stays warm and safe. And it does look like we have a couple 40-degree days next week. So get your bathing suits out. I got a pool. Come on over. We can take a swim. So we're excited about that.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Jeff Unknown. Love you too, bud. And
you're the man, Jeff.
We'll see you guys next week.